They towed my truck for blocking the view, so I parked it right in front of their office, legally. I've lived in my neighborhood for 6 years. It's quiet, clean, and mostly full of people who mind their business. At least that's what I thought, until the HOA decided my truck was a threat to community aesthetics. Now, before you picture some beat-up monster truck, let me clarify. It's a silver F-150. No dents, no rust, not even loud. It's my work truck. And yeah, I park it in my own driveway. One morning, I step outside with my coffee, and the driveway's empty. My heart drops. I think it's been stolen. After a few frantic calls, I find out the truth. The HOA had it towed for obstructing the neighborhood's visual harmony. Visual harmony. Apparently, my truck blocked the scenic view of the community garden across the street. I was furious. I went straight to the impound lot, paid $400 in towing and storage fees, and brought my truck home. Then I marched into the next HOA meeting. I showed them photos. My driveway was clean, the truck fit perfectly, and it didn't block a single sidewalk or driveway. The HOA president, a guy named Carl with a permanent scowl, leaned back and said, "Trucks like that make the neighborhood look unrefined. Park it elsewhere." Unrefined? Buddy, your sweater vest is unrefined. I told him my truck was legally parked on private property. He shrugged. Our HOA bylaws prohibit vehicles that disrupt neighborhood uniformity. Uniformity. There's that word again. 2 days later, another letter shows up. Final notice. Continued violations will result in further towing and additional fines. That's when I decided to read the HOA bylaws cover to cover. And buried on page 17, I found something interesting. A loophole. It said vehicles couldn't be parked on residential property driveways for more than 48 hours. But publicly accessible roads and shared spaces were exempt, as long as the vehicle followed city parking laws. Guess where the HOA office was located? Right on a shared access public road. So, the next morning, I parked my truck directly in front of their office. Perfectly legal, perfectly visible, and just to make it extra sweet, I put a bright yellow sign in the truck bed that said, "This truck was towed by the HOA for blocking the view. How's the view now?" People driving by honked, laughed, even stopped for photos. By noon, the picture was on our town's Facebook page with hundreds of likes. HOA messes with the wrong guy. Carl called me personally that afternoon, furious. He said, "You can't park there." I said, "Actually, I can. City code says it's public access. Want me to send you the link?" Silence. The truck stayed there for 3 straight days. By the end of the week, the HOA held an emergency meeting and quietly revised their parking policy to allow standard trucks in residential driveways. Carl resigned for personal reasons. And now, every time I pass their office, I make sure to give them a friendly honk, just to remind them. They wanted a better view? Now all they see is me, driving away with their pride in my rearview mirror.